The stars above the spiral arm of the Perseus Drift had never blinked so violently. On the crystalline observation deck of the Vayari Nexus, 1,000 alien species pressed their sensory organs against the void glass, watching the blue marble called Earth ignite in a storm of fire and fury. Their translators hissed with collective dread. "They're doing it again!" A single human fleet, barely 200 vessels, cobbled together from orbital scrapyards and corporate holes, had just punched a hole through the Keth Dominion's blockade. The Keth were the galaxy's undisputed apex predators, 12-limbed, acid-blooded, and armored in neutron-forged carapace. They had conquered 300 worlds without losing a single cruiser. Yet here, in the Sol system, the humans were winning. The lead human ship, a battered freighter retrofitted with antimatter lances, broadcast a signal on open channels. No encryption, no fear, just a voice, calm as a summer storm. "This is Captain Mara Reyes of the Last Chance. You want our rock? Come take it." The aliens aboard the Nexus recoiled. The Keth Armada, 5,000 warships, formed a perfect siege lattice around Earth's moon. Their plasma lances could glass a continent in minutes. The humans had no shields worth mentioning. Their weapons were jury-rigged railguns and repurposed mining lasers. But then, the impossible happened. A swarm of human drones, not sleek military craft, but cargo pods, detonated in synchronized pulses. Each pod carried a payload of tungsten rods the size of telephone poles. Dropped from low orbit at relativistic speeds, they struck the Keth flagship like the wrath of an angry god. The neutron armor crumbled. The ship folded in on itself, a black hole of its own making, dragging 3 escort cruisers into the grave. The Vayari deck erupted in a cacophony of alien tongues. A Vayari elder, its tentacles trembling, whispered, "They weaponized commerce." Mara's voice crackled again. "All stations, execute Plan Whiskey Tango. Let's give 'em the old razzle-dazzle." On Earth's surface, in a bunker beneath the ruins of Denver, a teenager named Jax, grease on his cheeks, a stolen Neuralink jammed into his skull, piloted a swarm of tractors. Yes, tractors. Farm equipment retrofitted with fusion torches and AI cores ripped from vending machines. They rose from the Rockies like angry hornets, their plows replaced with plasma cutters. The Keth ground troops, towering monstrosities that had crushed rebellions on 100 worlds, froze as the first tractor rammed a Keth walker, shearing its legs clean off. The boys' laughter echoed across the battlefield. Ye fucking haw! High above, the Nexus observers watched in stunned silence as human civilians, fishermen, coders, grandmothers with arthritis, coordinated the defense via a decentralized mesh network running on ham radios and Starlink knockoffs. Every loss was mourned in real time. Every victory celebrated with memes. A Keth admiral, its mandibles dripping acid, demanded surrender terms. Mara's reply was a single image. A pixelated middle finger, captioned, Molon Labe. The aliens didn't understand the reference, but they understood the math. The Keth fleet was down to 38% combat effectiveness. Human losses were catastrophic, over 60 million dead in the first 6 hours. Yet the defenders adapted, they learned, they improved. In the Nexus's war room, a reptilian strategist hissed, "They're not fighting to win. They're fighting to make us lose more." And then, the tide turned in a way no simulation had predicted. From the dark side of the moon, a human superfreighter, the Orca's Revenge, registered to a seafood company in Alaska, ignited its engines. It wasn't a warship, it was a cargo hauler. But its hold was packed with something the Keth had never encountered. deuterium slush laced with nanite swarms. The Orca rammed the Keth command dreadnought at point 2C. The impact didn't destroy the dreadnought, it infected it. Nanites burrowed into the Keth systems, rewriting their code in real time. The dreadnought's weapons turned on its own fleet, its engines reversed, plowing through the siege lattice like a drunk bulldozer. Mara's voice, now hoarse but unbroken. All units, this is it. Push the bastards into the sun. The Nexus deck fell silent. The Vayari Elder closed his eyes. They're going to do it. They're going to herd an armada into a star. On Earth, Jax's tractor took a direct hit. His Neuralink fried, but before he blacked out, he triggered the final protocol. Every remaining human drone, ship, and satellite converged on the Keth remnants. They didn't fire. They pushed. 1,000 tiny thrusts, coordinated by an AI trained on traffic jam algorithms. The Keth fleet, already crippled, was shoved inexorably towards Sol's gravity well. Their engines screamed, their hulls glowed. One by one, they burned. The last transmission from the Keth Admiral was a single word translated by the Nexus linguists. Madness. As the final Keth ship spiraled into the sun, Earth's defenders didn't cheer. They were too busy putting out fires, burying their dead, and patching hulls with duct tape and hope. Mara Reyes, blood crusted on her flight suit, stood on the bridge of the last chance. The stars were quiet again. She lit a cigarette with shaking hands and stared at the Nexus, a glint in the void, watching. She raised the cigarette in salute. Show's over, folks. Come back when you've got something worth fighting for. The Nexus winked out, vanishing into hyperspace, but the feed kept rolling. Across the galaxy, billions of eyes had seen humanity's truth. We don't win because we're stronger. We win because we refuse to lose. And somewhere in the ashes of Denver, Jax awoke. His arm was gone. His tractor was slag. But he was smiling. Because the sky was still blue. And the fight? Well, it was just getting started. Jax blinked against the dust swirling through the bunker's emergency lights, the stump of his left arm throbbing like a second heartbeat. A medic, some kid from Boulder with a med school dropout patch on her sleeve, slapped a gel pack over the wound and muttered, "Hold still, cowboy." Around them, screens flickered with damage reports. Denver a crater, the Rockies scarred by plasma furrows, but the Keth ground forces were gone, vaporized or fled. He laughed, a cracked sound. We just yeeted an empire with John Deere's. Mara's voice cut through the static on every channel. All survivors, rendezvous at Cheyenne Mountain. We've got incoming. Incoming. Jax's gut twisted. The Nexus had vanished, but orbital scopes painted a new signature. A single vessel, sleek as obsidian, sliding out of the asteroid belt like a shark through dark water. No Keth transponder, no human IFF. Something else. In the Nexus's wake, the Vayari Elder had left a probe, cloaked, silent, relaying everything to a council light-years away. Now that council watched the new arrival with the same dread they'd felt for humanity. The ship was Zainari. Pacifists, archivists, they'd never fired a weapon in 10,000 years. Yet here they were, broadcasting on open frequencies. People of Earth, we come in peace. Your actions have destabilized galactic order. Surrender your weapons. Submit to quarantine. Mara's reply was immediate. Quarantine this. She fired the last chance's last antimatter lance. The beam struck the Zainari shields and shattered them like glass. The pacifist ship listed, venting atmosphere. Jax staggered to a console, jacked his remaining Neuralink into the mesh. Across the planet, survivors, farmers, coders, grandmothers with arthritis linked up. A new swarm rose, delivery drones loaded with kitchen sink EMPs, rideshare scooters rigged with shaped charges. Zainari pleaded, "This is not war, this is preservation." Mara grinned, blood on her teeth. "Lady, we are the preservation." The second battle began at dawn.